Hey everyone, today I got a whole bunch of new Power Ranger figures, or well, old Power Ranger figures. Most of these are apparently from around like Megaforce to around Dino Charge, it looks like. So yeah, let's start going over some of these. So yeah, let's start off with one of these Dino Charge figures. There is a ton of these little Dino Charge figures, all missing their shoulder pads except one. There's one in this pile that still has its shoulder pads. But yeah, secondhand Dino Charge figures, unfortunately, are always missing their shoulder pads because they were removable. That was really dumb. Also, this is a Supercharge green Dino Charge Ranger, and I'm not a fan of this Supercharge armor. So yeah, he's probably getting sold or going away to charity. And then here's a little Super Mega Mode Green Samurai Ranger. These guys, Super Modes, are at least appealing to look at, unlike just slap more and more gray on. Also, the shoulder pads are attached. It hinders the shoulder movement a bit, but I mean, at least the whole figure is there. He's looking a little discolored. Huh. Oh, anyway. He's in decent shape. Most of these guys didn't come with their weapons. I was actually surprised that a good chunk of them did come with their weapons. Like here we got a little red Megaforce Ranger. He has his sword here. It's bent, but anyway. Yeah, he's in pretty good shape. There's no, like, obviously broken parts on any of these guys. Nothing seems loose or anything. You got a little pink Megaforce Ranger. That's cool. I'm not a fan of the female Ranger figures because look at the cigarette arms. Holy crap. Like, why? Why is it so skinny? Also, what's with the dress? Why, or the skirt? Why couldn't they incorporate the skirt into the sculpt like they did for Overdrive or Mystic Force? Their figures, like, the skirts turned out okay. They didn't get in the way of the legs. And then here we got Gia. Again with the stick arms. Not a fan, but whatever. It is nice to have all the Megaforce Rangers here, I guess. I don't actually know which ones I'm missing, which ones I have. I think I already have these two, but whatever. Moving on. Here's Coda, without his shoulder pad. Nothing much to say about this one. Pretty lame figure. Um, at least it's not a supercharged figure. It is like just a standard Dino Charge figure, so it looks good. It's just the shoulder pads are always missing. And then here we got Ultra Mode Troy with his whatever that thing was. Boy, the Ultra Mode armor sure was pointless, wasn't it? They just completely decided, forget about it. Next year we'll just use old powers. Yeah. Like, I want to say, like, at least it looks cool, but it doesn't really. I'm not a fan of the big, clunky Ultra Mode armor. And then here we got Noah Super Mode. Yay. No weapons. I like the blue. The blue is nice. I think Super Megaforce was where, like, this scale of Power Ranger figures, like, really came into its own and just kind of found itself. These just, they look really good. Oh, and then here's the only Dino Charge figure to still have both of his shoulder pads. Isn't that incredible? He has both of them. He had two, and they're both here. Anyway, it's still a stupid Supercharge figure, but kind of cool to have the light blue Ranger, Cyan Ranger, whatever his name was, Tyler's father. It's fine. Not a whole lot to say about it. Oh, actually, there was one other with a shoulder pad. This little brick here, where it's attached. So, yeah, the stupid motorcycle brick rangers, their shoulder pads got to just be attached. I don't know why they got that privilege, but yeah, they always have their shoulder pads. Moving on. Here's a little Jake. No weapons, just standard Megaforce Ranger figure. Nothing really super special to talk about with him. He's fine. And then here we got this big Red Ranger, Red Mighty Morphin Ranger. I believe this was put out for Super Mega Force. Let's see. He's got some scuff on his, yeah, the paint scuffed up a bit on his chest there, but otherwise, it's in pretty good shape. It's a nice looking figure. Hair on my blanket there. Yeah. Anyway, he's got that over-muscled look that a lot of the older Power Ranger figures have, but I don't know, I think there's some appeal there, and the sculpt is, like, otherwise really good. The design is really nice. He has some really good articulation. Let's see, yeah, you could pose this guy next to some Masters of the Universe classics or something, and he'd look pretty good with them. And then we have another Red Mighty Morphin Ranger. This one is a Legacy figure, I think. And again, like, it's a decent figure. It's not quite as over-muscled as the Super Mega Force one, but, like, it's still got some, like, that muscle detailing. Masters of the Universe cast a long shadow on the influence of action figures. Very highly articulated figure. And also, he's a really nice feeling material. I like what the Legacy figures were made out of. They were very nice figures. If only they had interchangeable heads, I think they could have probably, like, been comparable to the Lightning Collection figures. So, moving on, let's see, here we got a little Super Mega Mode Jaden here. Yay. And, here's Chase without a shoulder pad. Yay. Noah, Ultra Mode. At least he comes with his silly gumball machine weapon, whatever that thing was. Oh, and here's another Chase. There were two Chases. That one was, like, pretty normal. This one has really wiggly knees. So I guess this one was played with a lot. Also missing a shoulder pad. Let's see. Here's another Ranger missing a shoulder pad. Yeah, these kind of stink. Anyway, the rest, oh, and then there's one more Megaforce Ranger here. It's a Jake Ultra Mode. Whoopee. Yay. Like, they're at least in really good shape, so if I want to try and sell these or give them away to charity, like, that won't be a problem. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of these guys. Let's start off with this, big monster Dino Charge Red Ranger. He doesn't have a shoulder pad, but I'm not sure if he actually ever came with one. Yeah, like, I think maybe they just sculpted him without it. Anyway, he's a pretty decent figure, just like that, super muscly, Super Mega Force Red Ranger figure. He's got the, legacy joints in his, hands here. Anyway, decent, like, design on this guy, decent sculpt. I don't mind these. Like, if this had been the collector's line for Power Rangers, I don't think I would have minded too much if this was the scale and the style that they went with. Like, I'm not bothered too much by the over-muscled look. Like, I prefer how it looks in Lightning Collection now, but yeah, I think this would have been fine if they had, like, committed to it, which Bandai didn't do. Oh, and then here we got this cool thing. Let's see, in Dino Charge, they made a whole bunch of the villains, and they also made a couple of the Zords, like, as action figures, and, like, standard action figure size, with, like, the standard articulation. So this is really cool. I always love the idea of having, like, standard action figure-sized Zords. I don't know why that never seemed to take off. Because, I mean, if you have Zords this size, you can make monsters this size, and you can have the Zords fight the monsters. As it is, you can make the Zords, but then they just stand there looking pretty. So anyway, also the paint job on this is incredible. Like, it's almost hard to believe that... Okay, the back isn't impressive, but yeah, the front. It's hard to believe this came from Dino Charge, where they were so skimpy on paint for some of the monster figures and specialty figures like this. And here we got Vrock. Another one where it's kind of like, wow, we went from this to, like, yeah, monsters not having their legs fully painted. Anyway, when I got this guy out of the box, I was like, oh no, was he missing his shoulder pad? But then I I remember that I don't think he had a shoulder pad. I think he just has this one, but I don't know. So the rest of him is symmetrical, so it just looks really weird not to have it there. Anyway, happy to have a figure of him because, like, he's not my favorite villain, but he has a cool look, and as a toy, he looks really impressive. And I love the shiny metallic blue they gave him. Really stands out. Looks like he had something that plugged into his back here. He didn't have wings. Did he have like a cape or something that plugged in? Or what are these? I don't know. Who cares? Moving on. Really cool figure. Oh, then right here we have, I think, the oldest figure here. Blue Thunder Ranger. Or Navy Thunder Ranger. Blake. Decent articulation. Paint job's okay. I don't think this guy was played with very much. Like, yeah, he looks right out of the box. Which is kind of sad that, like, we have a toy here that was never played with, but on the other hand, that means he's in really good shape now. Let's see, and I think I already have a Navy Thunder Ranger, so he might be going to charity, or he'll be going to the comic book store, possibly, if I already have a figure, because I'm not too concerned with having him in, like, pristine shape like this, but I think maybe some parent might see this and, get it for their kid for Christmas, maybe, if I take it to the comic book store. And then this was a cool thing. We got a legendary Green Ranger with the silver stripy helmet. Back when... Oh, and he's got like a pea green suit. Maybe that's just the light from my... Yeah, it's just the light from my camera. It makes his suit look kind of sickly pea green, unfortunately. But anyway, I remember back in Super Megaforce when this silver stripe helmet came back. It was so bizarre. I mean, Tommy is such an iconic character. He was in so many episodes of Mighty Morphin. Like, that was what made him popular, and they brought him back so many times. And the Green Ranger suit. Like, I'm trying to remember, did it come back after... Yeah, it came back in Season 3, didn't it? It wasn't in... Yeah, Zeo had the White Ranger suit pop up once. Anyway, yeah, so the silver stripy helmet showed up once in Dino Thunder in a B-plot, but then somehow it kept popping up, and it still pops up in merchandise occasionally. And I just think it's so strange, the life that this weird design mistake had. Anyway, he has his Dragon Dagger, and it plugs into his belt. And it was really hard to plug it into his belt. I took these out of the box that came in earlier, and it's not really coming out. Oh, actually, maybe it is loose again, but I want it to stay there, so I'm not taking it back out again. It's not like he can hold it up to his mouth or anything, because the articulation in his arms just doesn't work that way. Anyway, this is a really nice figure. I love that the shield here is a separate piece from the rest of the sculpt. I don't like that the armbands are just painted on. That's kind of annoying, but otherwise, this is a really cool little Green Ranger figure. I kind of wish they had an alternate to the silver stripy helmet. Like, this could have been a variant, and then they could have had, like, a normal Tommy in there. So anyway, moving on, here's this really cool thing. This is part of Bandai's weird obsession with Power Rangers being Transformers. I don't know what it was about Transformers, but Bandai just really, really wanted Power Rangers to be Transformers. So here we got Trent. He turns into his Zord, and I remember seeing commercials for... I think it was this figure back when I was a kid. I remember seeing commercials for, like, a transforming figure, and I just thought it was the coolest looking thing ever. But unfortunately, we couldn't find it in stores, so I just did without it, and probably for the better, because this is actually kind of a lame figure, unfortunately. Trying to put this guy together with one hand is kind of tough. Okay, oh, and his head popped back out. That's annoying. Ah. Okay, there. So we got his legs there. Oh, yeah, there. And there he is. Oh, gotta put his little fin up. There we go. Don't really know what to do with his arms. I guess doesn't really matter. Anyway, there's little pegs on the front of his wings here, so I'm thinking there might have been more stuff that he came with. Can't imagine him coming with a whole lot more. I mean, he looks pretty decent here. But yeah, I remember thinking this was such a cool idea, but then we couldn't find the figure, and probably for the better, because it turns out I don't really care for it that much. One of the neat little things with this, let's see, when you let the head swing around to the back, it's like spring-loaded, there's a button that this little bit here presses, and that pops his head back out. And then you can have your really bulky, awkward Trent, or a bulky, awkward Zord. Yay. It's still a fun little dumb thing to have. And finally, last thing, here we got Super Megaforce Red Ranger with a giraffe neck. Yeah, I think what happened here was this body sculpt was made for the Silver Ranger, who I remember came with that legendary 6th Ranger armor. And they just didn't bother adapting the sculpt for poor Troy here, who has a very tiny head. It's weird, like, for Jason, his head is little too, but it kind of fits the look better. Same with, for Tyler here, his head isn't, like, that little. But, yeah, Troy has a tiny little pinhead on his, over-muscly Masters of the Universe body. Anyway, aside from that, though, this is a really, really good figure. The paint job is really good. Let's see, the articulation is really nice. There's some nice little details in the sculpt here. So, aside from the neck, it's a really cool figure. Too bad he didn't come with his weapons, because Super Megaforce and Gokaiger had some really cool-looking weapons. Oh yeah, and there's a weird thing with him. It doesn't really show up too well on my camera, but, there's like pink stains on his hands. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if maybe he was, like, in a box of markers or something and they leaked, or if this was, like, paint from the material that he's made of leaked onto his hands? I don't know, but that's really unusual and weird. Okay, so, yeah, that's everything. So there's all the Power Ranger stuff that I got today. This was a pretty good haul, especially for the price. This was only, like, about $40 or something. So yeah, pretty good price, especially considering I can probably flip some of these if, they're figures I don't want or have doubles of or whatever. Also, maybe some of them will become Christmas presents for some young relatives, later on. So, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.